Hello, my name is Michael Tarkington. I'm the creator of the Digital Citizen project. Thank you for tuning in. This video explains the merits of the digicity.org website project and identifies the broad social problems it aims to help us overcome. This is a unique video from others that follow in a series about the features and functions of the site. For more info about features and project plans, please view other videos to see prototypes and visit the blog site at digicity.org. More content is always in development, so keep in touch. The site will be a niche social networking tool at release and will evolve to become much more. Interest groups, politicians, academics, agencies, news organizations, and individuals will have unique profiles with features helping them to engage the public like never before. It is important to note that this project is a massive undertaking, and many features discussed here are unlikely to be included in the initial rollout, but they are crucial to realizing the full potential of the site. The earliest iterations will be based primarily on social networking features, because they are necessary for linking other features together. The more support this project earns, the sooner its full potential can be realized. An example of a successful niche social networking tool is LinkedIn. They created a social network within a professional context that was designed to meet a niche demand that helped users connect based on work experience, educational background, and job search or recruitment efforts. The company started in 2002 and as of 2013 has gone global, gaining 225 million members with over 2 new members joining per second. Dating sites are another such example of successful niche social networking. Sites such as OkCupid also employ networking features that help users connect with a specific objective of finding a date or significant other. The features and functions of LinkedIn cater to those seeking online professional activity. The features and functions of dating sites cater to those seeking online romantic activity. digicity.org offers features and functions catering to those seeking online political activity. Digital Citizen will be a social network that meets the specific needs of people wishing to connect in a political context. Everyone is affected by politics, and there's a growing untapped demand for political social networking resources. Like the other successful social networking sites, or SNSs for short, Digital Citizen has the power to connect people in a unique way, which in our case can produce social changes for public benefit. Trends of internet use and online political engagement show tremendous promise for the success of digicity.org. Since the internet has become increasingly affordable as a household service, global proliferation of internet access has continued to rise, with many projections to reach the vast majority of the population within the next decade. People turn to the internet for everything from consumerism to entertainment to education. They are increasingly turning to it for political engagement as well. Political activity increases with age and peaks in retirement ages of 65 or older. Generation X, which counts as roughly 84 million people in the US, is the first generation to have computers and the internet as a household item while reaching adulthood, and they are rapidly approaching ages of increased political activity. Millennials already seek online means of political engagement over any other method and will only become more active with age. A Pew Research study found that 26% of adults used SNSs for politics around the 2008 presidential election and 39% in 2012. This 13% increase occurred even in an environment not conducive to political engagement and will only be amplified in elections to come. Furthermore, online political activity on blogs, info sites, forums, etc. are also on the rise. The future of political engagement will take place primarily online, and it's time to create the right environment for making online engagement productive. This video focuses on explaining 5 core reasons why digicity.org is so important. In the section Better Tech, Better Democracy, we see that recent tech innovations show ever-increasing promise to radically improve democratic participation, but we are currently missing many such opportunities. In Overcoming Polarization, we begin to look at social problems of political divisiveness that the site aims to help solve. Cynicism and Apathy is about the mind state of many citizens who opt out of participation because they feel powerless or that the system is broken. Improving engagement and awareness is the main function of digicity.org because participation critically affects the legitimacy of our democracy, and issue awareness is required for high-quality democratic decision-making. Finally, we consider how digicity.org can make civic participation more effective and improve on our many challenges. By the end of this video, you should be convinced that digicity.org will evolve our political processes. Before we continue, think of a political issue that is important to you and that you want to change or perhaps defend. It could be anything from immigration reform to adding local streetlights, to military engagements, or a civil rights issue. Everyone has at least one political issue they feel strongly about. If you feel like your effect on the issue is insignificant, I expect this video to give you at least a glimmer of hope for being more effective. If you already believe in your power as a citizen, then this video should present exciting opportunities to you. If you're cynical about politics, I challenge you to keep an open mind, adopt a little optimism, review the evidence of technology affecting politics for the better, and to consider the accomplishments we've made throughout history that have improved lives around the world. So let's start by looking at a few things social media tech has already done for politics. Social media theorist Clay Shirky argues that the history of the modern world could be rendered as the history of ways of arguing, where changes in media change what sort of arguments are possible, with deep social and political implications. Shirky discusses the Arab Spring and Occupy Wall Street movements as examples of how social media can amplify the power of the public. In both cases, social media was used to organize and popularize their missions. However, these mass protest outcomes are far from ideal and have arguably proven ineffective at creating timely change, as there is still turmoil in nations where the uprising occurred, and in the US, very little has changed regarding the economic concerns of the Occupy protesters. At the very least, these events brought important issues into the public conversation, like never before. At a Commonwealth Club panel of international members of parliament, including a Tunisian leader from the Arab Spring, leaders discussed how technology has yet to be tapped for its full benefits and has been used most notably in the organization of extreme protests under dire circumstances. The panel moderator posed the question of how we might be able to use technology for social change in a proactive fashion, rather than these harmful reactive methods which disrupt the lives of protesters, their opponents, and innocent bystanders. digicity.org can be a powerful proactive tool for social change that helps prevent the needs for such extreme measures. Another way the current social media landscape falls short of satisfying our needs for online political engagement is the problem of the filter bubble. It is a well-known problem in our consumer-tailored online experiences. Google, Yahoo, and Facebook are examples of organizations many of us rely on for our searches and exposure to feeds from news sources and peers. but these organizations moderate our search results based on our history of activity online. While this has convenient advantages in terms of helping us get what we want from our searches, particularly when purchasing goods and services, it has the adverse effect of hiding the full breadth of unfiltered online content from us. In an interview with Lynn Paramore of The Atlantic, internet activist Eli Pariser said, quote, "Since December 4th, 2009, Google has been personalized for everyone. So I had two friends this spring Google BP. One of them got a set of links that was about investment opportunities in BP. The other one got information about the oil spill." End quote. This point illustrates that one's historical activity online shapes their exposure, making them less likely to see political content that comes from sources with arguments contrary to their beliefs. Presumably, if you have made searches for investment opportunities, you would be more likely to get search results to invest in BP rather than seeing news articles about the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Conversely, you might never learn about BP's positive impacts in society if you typically visit environmental protection sites and your search results simply demonize the corporation. SNSs currently available to the public fall short of overcoming the filter bubble problem for political issues. In his book Citizenville, Lieutenant Governor of California Gavin Newsom quotes tech journalist Greg Ferenstein regarding the Facebook filter bubble, which has been known to exclude the updates of people with contrasting political positions from our feeds. Ferenstein said, quote, "To me, there should be a Facebook application where people can track the things they care about and talk about with others who disagree with them. Digital Citizen provides exactly what Ferenstein asked for, and its social networking overcomes the problem by not filtering political content without explicit user awareness and via the counterweight section, which goes one step further by encouraging users to see content from sources with contradictory views. People typically want a pleasant and leisurely experience when they use most social networking sites, so filtering content to achieve that goal is sensible. However, it is counterproductive when trying to facilitate healthy political engagement. Facebook is a popular place for users to link news articles and share political opinions with their peers. But there is a well-known stigma against having political conversations in settings which are intended by most to be places of comfort and leisure that do not cause tension by addressing controversial issues. Most users on Facebook will log in because they want to get updates about what their friends are doing and see videos of a kitten dancing on a beach ball. Few users aim to engage in thorough debates about important issues or to read about their friends' serious political views. Politics certainly has a special place in SNS activity, and it's a good thing that politics permeates our lives in this new way. However, many want to express detailed political views on Facebook, etc., but are reluctant to do so for fear of being ostracized because of their views or simply being perceived as a downer amongst their peers who logged in for leisure. A socialmediatoday.com article by site owner Chris Syme illustrates this point well when it advises users to avoid topics of political nature if one fears potentially alienating members of their social network. Digital Citizen provides a space separate from casual or professional networks in which users can control privacy and identity as they share political views with whomever they choose and shed any concerns they had about controversy amongst peers. Also, because the site is designed for political interaction, people logging in will be less likely to consider the content a downer or a nuisance because they are presently in the mood for political engagement. There are a lot of great political action resources already available online, but they are missing out on opportunities to be more convenient and to offer better features that are interconnected. Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, C-SPAN, Open Congress, GovTrack, Open Secrets, VoteSmart, Debate.org, Change.org, and Rock the Vote are all examples of organizations that impact political engagement in a positive way. But what if we united a lot of their features? The image on this slide is a screenshot from a prototype version of the digicity.org user hub. This page is the Facebook equivalent of your login screen where you'd see your friend stream. This image shows the prototype sidebar and main menu, which offer quick access to site features for calendars, contacts, debate, gaming, legislation editing, legislation info, academic studies, institutional info, and a political wiki, to name a few. The hub's social networking stream has filters so that users can see specific types of posts, like events, posts from people with opposing views, or posts from politicians they've followed. The right-hand column is filled with customizable widgets, giving a user quick and easy access to their favorite features of the site. This is the long-term vision for a sensible online solution to political engagement. It is to these smaller web-based solutions what a one-stop shop department store is to a tiny boutique. Ideally, digicity.org will be formed with a series of mutually beneficial partnerships involving other online political resource organizations. Now we shift topics and begin looking at some of the challenges ahead. To overcome polarization in society and partisanship among politicians, we have to begin with respectful, civilized debate. No matter how strongly we may disagree with others, if we respect their opinions, we stand a far better chance of cooperating with them. By respecting opinions, I mean giving the opposition the benefit of the doubt, that they aren't evil or incompetent. We have to work hard to understand their rationale, and even if you don't understand it, operate based on the assumption that they have some good reasons for doing what they are doing. Most Americans are actually moderate, and thus the majority agrees on more issues than we disagree on. Much of what we are exposed to comes from political extremes, since the far right or left citizens tend to be more active and their radical activities get more media attention. If the moderate electorate interacts more, even the extremes could come to realize they have more in common with their polar opposites than they thought. Currently, the process of demonizing political opposition is much more popular than having a rational debate. However, if we reveal more common ground and increase interaction, demonization of the opposition will be exposed as a falsehood. Increased interaction will help foster understanding and trust. Engaging the moderates of our society will help us to more accurately determine consensus on issues. With more political engagement and well-crafted debates, which invite public expertise, the best ideas will be more likely to prevail on their merits. All of these factors enhancing cooperation will help us minimize gridlock in politics so that our leaders begin to compromise as they have in the past. Being a digital citizen will help make partisan politics unpopular. Cynicism and apathy are understandable but unacceptable. The idea that all of political debate is just endless bickering, or that misinformation makes it impossible to engage in politics, or that corruption undermines the system to the point where it's completely inept. These are all falsehoods. People who opt out of participation because of these negative ideas about politics only perpetuate our problems. In today's political process, many of us feel powerless to impact real change, and it's perfectly rational to feel this way because our current means of participation are limited, inconvenient, and in many cases ineffective. So the solution to our problems first depends on us enhancing our means of political influence. The public has not always felt so cynical and apathetic towards politics, and soon we'll see that the rest of the developed nations tend to have much higher participation than the US. These notions of apathy and cynicism create a dangerous, self-fulfilling prophecy. As Plato put it, the price of apathy towards public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. If you feel politics is essentially hopeless, consider the following. We have a history of increasing civil rights for minorities and women who are still fighting for equality but have made dramatic accomplishments through political actions. Studies have shown the societies which encourage greater democratic participation with social and economic freedoms tend to have improved quality of life. Quality of life has been shown to improve even further as democratic governance matures and stabilizes within a nation. Democratic nations have historically engaged in less military conflict. We've already seen examples such as the Arab Spring, where the internet has already shown promise for distributing political power to the masses. All of these facts are signs of how impactful democratic political participation can be and serve as evidence countering those who opt out of participation due to apathy or cynicism. These facts are good cause for optimism about our political futures. Let's now take a look at political engagement. In 2012, only 61.8% of eligible voters voted for president. And in non-presidential elections for members of Congress, we tend to only have a roughly 35% turnout rate. Give me a moment to zoom in to the image on the bottom right of the slide here. So this figure is from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and it shows a comparison of international voter turnout percentages for recent elections held by developed nations. The US ranks second last for voter turnout among 39 nations. The report also shows that from 1980 to 2011, the US had the third largest drop in participation of all the other nations. So just in case you're having a hard time seeing this image, this is the United States down here with sort of an amalgamated percentage of turnout at 48%, which I think is actually generous. So why is engagement so poor? The figure on the bottom left is a study done by the Center for Information and Research on Civic Learning and Engagement at Tufts University in Massachusetts. It investigates the reasons for not voting among registered voters. This doesn't even cover the unregistered eligible voters, but they find that many people don't want to engage in a system they feel powerless to change. They also discover that people found it difficult to participate amidst their busy lives. Many would presume that a significant number of those who responded too busy on this survey actually used that as a cover for their feelings of apathy or cynicism. So as we can see, the too busy response is by far the largest among those ages 18 through 29 and for those age 30 or older. Let's take the report from the previous slide at face value and recognize that convenience is a major factor affecting participation. Many of us are too busy to stand in lines at a polling station and even find the snail mail method of using an absentee ballot to be cumbersome. In the future, digicity.org will aid in online voting processes. Just like voting, if other means of political engagement are not convenient, many of us simply won't bother. Now we consider political issue awareness. Lack of awareness makes us susceptible to misinformation and can deter us from participating because we may feel unqualified to make important decisions or take stances on issues we know little about. Journalist Ariel Edwards-Levy found that in November 2014, when the Senate narrowly rejected the Keystone XL pipeline bill, most of the public believed the project was a vastly more Republican-sponsored action. She said, "Americans are about 4 times more likely to think of Keystone as being supported by Republicans in Congress as they are to say it has bipartisan support." In truth, it received significant bipartisan support. Louisiana's Democratic Senator Mary Landrieu was one of the strongest advocates for its passage. Opponents sensationalizing the evils of the Republican Party have consistently aligned them with big oil interest groups, undermining the will of the people. But in the case of the Keystone Project, it is very much untrue, and surely widespread knowledge of the fact that it actually received bipartisan support would have improved its chances for passage. Another example of our poorly informed electorate can be found in the widespread misinformation regarding the Affordable Care Act. A PolitiFact article revealing the top 16 myths about the healthcare law does an excellent job of illustrating how vulnerable an electorate can be when they are steadily misinformed to believe claims that Obamacare supports death panels or has the IRS take over the system with excessive access to personal information. Prominent political figures made a wide variety of misleading claims to form these myths. National surveys from 2010 and 2012, analyzed by a Stanford University study on public understanding of the ACA, led researchers to conclude that if the public had perfect understanding of the key elements in the law, quote, the proportion of Americans who favor the bill might increase from the current level of 32% to 70%. Such figures about low participation and limited issue awareness of the electorate show us that political deliberation in the U.S. has great room for improvement. These are examples where increased political awareness would affect how the electorate makes decisions. As illustrated by the politically opposing examples, both liberals and conservatives stand to benefit from improved political knowledge on issues. Surely this is an important enough factor to warrant the creation of a well-known website that offers concise, unfiltered access to political information, as well as access to info from trusted peers. As noted previously, one of the big reasons for poor engagement is the public's sense of powerlessness. To combat this, we need to create tools that empower citizens with information, connections to influential people, effective means of political expression, convenience, and of course fun. More than ever before, the public participates in politics in the online sphere. Facebook has become the largest source of political news for millennials, and generations to come will increasingly depend on information from online sources. Like a dating site, digicity.org can use completed questionnaires to enhance user experience. You can easily network with people who share your political views and are active regarding issues important to you. Without digicity.org, you might never have a chance to communicate with these people or to find so many other leaders advancing causes you care about. It is also uniquely powerful in making us keep an open mind by showing users content from people with opposing views. This helps us broaden our horizons, overcome polarization and groupthink, and instill a more cooperative political culture. Politician profiles include information, such as voting records. Bill text and legislative info is shared from the Library of Congress. A political wiki educates us on political terminology. An academics section engages scholars and students in political processes. Event planning brings people together in support of a common cause. These are all examples of how digicity.org offers resources for political empowerment. Various reward systems give users recognition for their impact as digital citizens. You'll enjoy earning achievements and showing off social clout. There are even plans for a city-building simulator game, in which points are earned via activities on the site and then spent toward enhancing your own custom city or town. We're close to concluding this presentation, and it's time to consider how we can make participation more effective. Make your voice heard through more than just voting. Evolve what it means to be politically active. With the right tools, we can make representation in our democracy more direct than ever. Because aggregating the wishes of the masses has historically proven a difficult task, we've turned to representative democracy as a means to decipher and enact the will of the majority while factoring in protections for minorities. Every citizen cannot and will not vote or carefully debate every issue, and it's unreasonable to expect that. Our society has been logistically constrained to a less direct form of democratic engagement, depending on snail mail, paper petitions, town hall meetings, and protests as examples for so-called effective means of political expression. In the present, tech advances enable us to collect and use info in ways we could not have imagined a mere decade ago. Instead of relying on representatives to be our sole voice in political action, we can create an effective online space where our voice is documented, analyzed, and turned into actionable guidelines for public preference. Politicians and politically active organizations spend millions to data mine social networks and conduct polls or surveys over the phone just to find out public sentiment toward issues. Why not show public opinion more explicitly and use a sample of the population accessed via more modern forms of communication than landline telephone? digicity.org has the potential to become a statistical treasure trove, an effective outlet for political expression, and a practical tool for the average citizen to have a measurable impact on political outcomes with dispersed political influence to more of the population. The open source legislation feature is a prime example of an opportunity for citizens to significantly influence lawmaking. Without going into too much detail, it essentially enables crowdsourced editing of legislation in much the same way GitHub enables open source software developers to collaborate on producing some of the greatest tech innovations. Users can create their own bills or propose revisions to existing ones and share their bills with the public or a select circle of contacts. Users can vote on proposed revisions of bills as a whole or specific line items, and votes affect the exposure of the bill and the sorting of revisions by popularity. This feature and others like it will be discussed in greater detail in the prototype preview videos to come. Sites like change.org have done good work to create an online petition process, and digicity.org could potentially collaborate with them or other organizations like them to create its own petition functions so that other networking features are tied in. Currently, almost every politician has a different way of being contacted online, and it's typically through their own campaign sites. Some do not have social networking profiles, and many don't have efficient official procedures for responding to social networking messages. digicity.org can provide a uniform and reliable way for citizens to more directly interact with their government officials. Debate is one of the core features of the site and a destination for those who wish to express themselves and affect the opinions of their peers. Civilized debate is highly engaging and currently takes place in many online environments lacking the common sense debate features. Voting features affect popularity of debates and the opinions within them so that ideas are promoted based on merit, increasing a user's sense of political efficacy when they make a winning argument. The ability to keep your debates private with your networking features or to compel the minds of the public with robust debate creation tools can be very empowering. Users can vote on a wide variety of content to make their preferences known. With a simple click, vote on profiles, active legislation, comments, academic works, wiki entries, news articles, and more. Every click has power. Share your political views on your profile page just as you would on blogs or other social networking feeds with status updates, etc. Because this space is designed for political expression, you don't have to worry so much about ostracizing yourself from friends, coworkers, etc. who can be in your other networks. Robust privacy settings help make political expressions to whomever you choose. It's time to recall your issue that we discussed previously in the presentation. Imagine all the ways you could more easily and effectively impact the issue as a digital citizen. Imagine a world full of informed people who collaborate to solve humanity's biggest problems. Stop imagining and make it a reality. Our problems won't go away overnight, even if we do everything in our power to combat them. But if we don't act today, they will surely continue to harm us for many more years to come. Let's begin to tap into the passion, leadership, and expertise of our population today. Please like this video, comment below, and subscribe. Thanks for watching and becoming a digital citizen.